Y'all already know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, and we're back. Life after prison. The long-term effects. Everybody talks about what happens in prison. Everybody talks about their experiences. No one talks about the day-to-day struggles that come with having been incarcerated. No one talks about what you're left with after you leave up out of there. This is a topic I could speak a lot on. Coming up on my 7th year of being free. I got out July 10th, 2014. This July 10th will make 7 years I've been home. I still struggle daily with the things I saw, things I experienced, things that I took from the time that I was incarcerated and that I'm not sure I'll ever be able to shake. That's what we're going to get in today, and I hope that anyone that's ever done time will pay attention, listen, take some advice, and be able to relate to what I'm about to say. To anybody that's not ever done time, I hope that you listen in hopes of never having to be able to relate. I know I done seen it, and I know I done lived it. Now let's relive it. Let me take a second to say what's up and salute to 6-year-old Jaden Briggs, man. This kid was one of 2 kids that was shot here in VA in Petersburg during a drive-by shooting about 2 weeks ago. Spent 11 days in the hospital. He was shot, and then another little girl was shot when somebody opened fire into a crowd of people. Jaden spent 11 days in the hospital. Had to go, undergo surgery to fix his intestines. They had to remove a bunch of nerves. He's lost feeling in his leg and his foot. You shouldn't have to experience that at 6 years old. But it's a blessing at the same time that we didn't lose another child to some senseless, stupid shit that somebody decided to do. To anybody out here that thinks you're riding down on your ops, or, you're going to take somebody out, if that's what you want to do, that's what you're going to do. But don't be ignorant, man. Don't just shoot into crowds of people and be that guy that the only thing you hit was 2 children. Shout out to the little girl. She survived. Grace of God. Thank you, God. With that being said, man, salute both of you youngins. Glad y'all made it. Glad y'all okay. Let's go ahead and get into today's topic. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about the guys that when I left were still left in prison. Not a day that goes by that I don't talk to somebody from the prison, somebody that's a friend, somebody I might have known in the streets. I do this daily because I know what it is to be locked up in one of those places and to just become forgotten about by the entire world. That's one of the hardest parts of being locked up. It's not the physical aspect. It's not the fighting. It's not all the things that everybody knows that happens when it comes to being incarcerated. It's the being forgotten about part. It's the knowing life is passing you by and you don't even get to see it. You wake up every day to the same thing, to the same existence, the same chaos, the same type of food, the same guards, the same dingy cell. And there's no arguing that there are a lot of people that need to be right where they are. But there's a lot of guys that don't. It pisses me off and it makes me angry. I used to get so mad when I would be, close to somebody I considered to be a friend, my homeboy, somebody I would be with every day, that knew everything about me. I knew everything about them. That's what you do. You build, you tell them things, they find out things about you, they see your family photos, see pictures of your kids, you become good friends, and at times you become more than friends. It's almost like you become brothers. Because once you're forgotten about, that's all you really have is each other. I get so angry when I would see somebody like the guy David Bickley I did a story on, who was in prison, incarcerated for the second time for a second child molestation case, and only got a couple of years. Now you're sitting here with this guy that didn't hurt anybody, that stole something or stole some things, that's doing 25 years, 20 years, 40 years. I've met guys that were pretty much going to spend the rest of their life in jail, in prison, behind stealing. And it's a sad and sickening and angry feeling the day you watch a child molester, a sexual predator, a rapist pack his belongings up and just go ahead and just walk out the door back into society. I struggle with that daily, man. I cry inside for the guys that I know are good men that aren't home, that aren't coming home no time soon, and for the ones that are coming home soon. My brother gets out this October. Really good friend of mine, Lil Bubba, gets out in September. I talked to him the other day. He's pretty stoked about coming home. He was there for a lot of the stories that I tell y'all. He was there for the Cherry incident. He was there for the Travis Potts incident. My last few years we spent it in the same dorm. So he could tell you firsthand how things went, how I got down, how things were handled. You ain't got to hear it from me no more. You'll be able to hear it from him. But that's a struggle daily, man. There's a guilt that comes with being out here, being free, winning and succeeding in life. And the ones that you really want to see that they can do the same aren't here to see it. Jacob Aquino goes back up for another parole hearing, I believe in October. I'm going to make sure that he has a lawyer. I'm going to make sure that he has his best chance at coming home. He should not do 36 years for a crime he didn't commit. He should not do 36 years if he had committed the crime for a crime where nobody was hurt. But, David Bickley can do 2 years for molesting a child. Michael Cottrell doing 56 years for breaking into somebody's houses. And no, it is not okay to take things that do not belong to you. A lot of people have come home to their house being broken into. I've come home to my front door being kicked in and my house ransacked. I know the feeling that comes with that betrayal, that sense of security being taken away from you, that somebody's been through your stuff, touched your stuff, taken stuff. It's a messed up feeling. And you can say what you want, but that doesn't deserve 56 years in prison. It's the thing I deal with every day, is the guilt of feeling like I left them. My time was up. I did the time the judge sentenced me, did the 10 years and came home. And I understand that. But it doesn't change the fact that you miss people, man. And some of the people I can relate to the most in this world, some of the only people that truly understand me, who I am, why I am, and what I am, are still incarcerated. Now I'm reliving these stories with y'all, telling y'all things I've seen, things I've been through. It's not always easy to do. It's not always pleasant. Y'all just see the video. I try to paint a picture with words so that I can put you there. You can understand. And I do my best to always be honest and always give it to you exactly how I remember it. It's the gift and the curse. It's a gift that I'm able to do that I can, put my memories into words and create mental visions for y'all. But once I turn the camera off, I'm stuck in that moment. The rest of the day, I'm usually kind of spaced out thinking about everything that I discussed that day, because some of these things I hadn't thought about in a long time. When I tell the stories, it takes me back to that moment. It takes me back to the smells. It takes me back to my heart beating fast, to my palms being sweaty. I'll literally finish up these videos sometimes and my heart will be pounding. My hands will be soaking the steering wheel. My shirt will start to get sweaty because I'm actually doing exactly what I say I'm doing. I'm reliving it. With that comes the nighttime. And for anybody that's ever done serious time or some time in a messed up place or a short amount of time and seen something messed up take place, you can agree on the fact that with that comes trouble sleeping at night. With that comes the nightmares. The nightmares don't usually reflect the memory. They reflect bits and pieces of it. But rather than you having a nightmare about what somebody else went through, it's usually you being the person that went through whatever else you saw the next man go through. Or it's you having nightmares about things you actually went through. I have to take medication at night to be able to sleep. I'm an insomniac. If I do not take medication, I do not take something to help me with the insomnia, I will lay awake till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. TV can be off. Everybody else in the house can be asleep, and I'll just be laying there with my eyes open. Or I'll be laying there with my eyes closed. And in those moments, I think about my day at work. I think about my kids, my wife, my family, things I got to do, things that irritate me, things that piss me off. But a lot of times, I'll fall into that dream state, and it becomes not dreams, it becomes nightmares. I've had this same dream since I was young, since I was just a young man, preteen. And the dream is that, well, there's a couple versions of it. One is that I'm free, and for whatever reason, I get locked up. And I'm back in that jumpsuit. I'm back in that cell. I'm back behind those bars. I've been having that dream my whole life. But now it's worse because when I have that dream, I have people that care about me. I have a family that I've created. So now when that dream comes to me, it consists of my children watching me be hauled away. My children crying. I had this one dream where my kids were outside the jail and they were in the parking lot, and I could see them looking for me and crying and screaming and saying, "Daddy." And I was banging on the glass from a cell window. And I didn't know why I was in this cell. I hadn't done anything. It's just almost like I'm so used to being incarcerated that in my dreams, I don't even have to have a reason to be incarcerated. That's just what I've known in life. Those are nightmares. I used to have these dreams that when I was locked up, that I would somehow be given a pass to get out. Like the guards would come to me and be like, "Hey, you can go home till 7 o'clock tonight." But if you're not back in time, you're never going to get out again. And in these dreams, I would be with my family. I'd be with my friends, my loved ones. And then I would look down at my watch, and it would be like 10 o'clock at night. And I would start panicking. In my dreams, I would be sweating. And I'd wake up. I'd look around me, and I'd actually be in that cell. I had a dream a couple nights ago that I was locked back up. And the dream started off with me being taken into the prison, being booked in, and being put back in my old cell. And it's so just bizarre that I can close my eyes right now and picture that cell to a T. I can picture which end of the mat my pillow laid on, how my towel was hung, where my bars of Irish Spring were sat on the counter, how my soups were stacked. I woke up out of that dream drenched in sweat. And I kept telling myself while I was dreaming, it's just a dream, it's just a dream. Wake up, wake up, wake up. And I'm pinching myself in this dream, and I'm not waking up. Now, most times you can be like, wake up, and you'll wake up out of a nightmare. I couldn't wake up. So I spent the whole 7-8 hours that I was asleep, incarcerated. I'm free. But in those nightmares and those moments, I'm incarcerated again. I hope the dreams, the nightmares stop. But they come to me most times after I finished talking about something on one of the videos that I didn't want to talk about. After I finished sharing something that I wasn't sure I'd ever share with people. Those are the nights that when I lay my head on that pillow, I stretch my arm out. My little boy lays on his back, puts his head right here. I lay my arm up underneath his pillow, and he uses my shoulder as his pillow. I go to sleep with him on my arm, and I'm transported through my dreams back into the penitentiary. These are nightmares that are worse than any boogeyman. They're worse than anything you can imagine, because you have so much to lose. In my dreams, I'm not really concerned about me. I'm concerned about the people that I've let down. I'm concerned about the ones that love me and the ones that need me. I'm concerned about how they're going to survive now that I am calm. I don't think the dreams will ever stop. Just like if you're a war vet, somebody that's been through war, and you have those dreams, they'll probably never stop. And that's because this is something that you really lived through. You've lived what nightmares are made of. So it's much more realer when you fall into those dreams. I'm good at communicating through the camera. I'm good at communicating with y'all when it comes to talking, expressing how I feel or what I got to say that's got to do with the video. I'm good at that. What I'm not good at in real life after prison is communicating in real life. My wife tells me all the time, you don't know how to communicate. You don't know how to argue. I'm not an arguer. Like any married couple, we'll get to arguing, and rather than be that guy that's yelling and the guy that's screaming and acting all crazy, I'll just get quiet. She can be going off mad at me for whatever, and I'll just sit quiet. It frustrates her that she can't get a reaction out of me, or that I won't fight back, or, go into details about whatever, and it's usually something stupid. You know how married couples are. They fight over the dumbest shit. It frustrates her. And I try to explain to her that I'm not an arguer. There was a time when I could argue. There was a time when I could debate, when I would go back and forth and get all hype and defend myself. But after all those years of learning that all arguing does is lead to a fight, that's kind of where I'm stuck with that. Almost 7 years now, and I still can't argue. I don't think I'll ever be able to argue. As somebody's running their mouth or arguing with me, I'm sitting there trying to count backwards from 100, doing everything I can to contain my anger and my rage. They're focused on getting their point across, and I'm focused on not losing grip, not losing control. I learned early on in life that standing there arguing with somebody will get you hurt. I was taught that if you have a problem, there ain't nothing to talk about. Fight. As soon as you realize there's something to be discussed, as soon as you realize there's something going on, the talking is over. It usually leads straight to violence, straight to punching, straight to stabbing, straight to getting stabbed. The guy that stands there and argues is usually the guy that gets hurt. Tell y'all a story real quick. How I know, I know for a fact what I'm saying is true, but the first time that I came to terms with it and had to deal with it when I got out was between me and my brother Jesse, right? My brother had taken his baby mama's car and disappeared for hours and hours and hours, and everybody was worried about him. And when he showed back up to the house, he was messed up. Been drinking and stuff and doing only God knows what while he was out and about in this girl's car. And he got home, and her, my wife, my brother's wife, and my wife were best friends at the time. She's called us and said, hey, can you come over? He just got back. He won't give me my car keys. And this was just him being belligerent, right? Him being stupid. So we said, yeah, we'll come over. At the time, he was staying at my cousin Angie's house, and they had a fully finished basement, with a pool table in it, bedroom, bathroom. Him and her were staying down there. He was, renting this room from him. And we pull up, and I knew at the moment that we pulled up that I was going to get to fighting. Because I knew that when I went inside, he was going to want to argue. He was going to want to go back and forth, and that I couldn't argue. I couldn't do that. So as we got out the car, we pulled up and got out the car. My son, he was, maybe 13 at the time, was in the back seat. My nephew was in the back seat. I told them, roll the windows up and lock the doors. Don't get out. I walked through the downstairs door into the basement. My brother's wife standing there, my wife standing there. And I told them, no matter what you hear, stay outside. Don't come in here. What are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to go in there and talk to him, but I don't really see him talking. I'm not good at talking. I'm going to do my best to talk to him. I hope nothing happens, but if something does, y'all stay outside. I make my way in, and he's kicked back on the bed watching TV. And I walk up beside the bed, and I'm like, man, what's up with you? I love my brother, man. He's one of my best friends, man. We're more alike on our bad things than we are on our good. So he gets up immediately, defensively. And I'm like, hey, let me get her keys, man. Let me get a girl her keys back. He starts running his mouth. As he's running his mouth, I can feel my blood pressure going up. He go ahead and he hops up out the bed. He's still dressed. And I back up because I don't want what I know I'm known for doing to take place. He gets out the bed, stands up, and I tell him, look, man, just give me the keys. This ain't what you want to do. Chill out. And he's blah, 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 just going in, arguing, running his mouth, right? I had full control of the situation up until one of the bad things I picked up in prison came into play in that moment. As we're arguing, I look down and his fists are balled up. At the moment that I saw his fists were balled up, all my being able to control myself, all my being able to listen to what he had to say, all of that went right out the window. I looked down, seen his fist balled up, and no sooner than I seen his fist balled up, he rushed forward at me, and we just took off fighting. Broke the television, entertainment stand, all the furniture in the room. We fought for a good 3-4 minutes. Destroyed him and his wife's bedroom. Destroyed it. I mean, like, when it was all said and done, I had glass in my elbows, glass in my knees. He had glass in his back from where the entertainment center was shattered. Flat screen TV was busted all up. Furniture's busted up. We went at it like two dogs in there. We separate. I go upstairs. By now, actually, no. We're still in the midst of fighting, and my cousin Angie comes downstairs, and she tries to get in between us. And meanwhile, I'm still swinging, and I'm so zoned in on what's going on and what's happening that I don't see that she's even there. I can't hear her at the time screaming stop, which she told me she did afterwards. But as I'm swinging on him, just with everything I got, just doing what I know I shouldn't be doing, but this is all I know to do in these moments. These punches are catching her thigh and her calves, because she's trying to put her leg in between us, which was crazy because you got two grown men, both over 200 pounds, fighting, and you're trying to break them up with your leg. So I hear her say something, and it snaps me back into what's going on. So I get up, I go upstairs, I'm like, you all right? And she's like, yeah, I'm good. She's like, what are y'all doing? And I'm like, she's like, y'all destroyed downstairs. My brother by now has went out the side door and went up to the car where my wife is sitting in, my nephew and my son, and he's got this ring on, and he punches the window. Boom! I guess he thinks I'm in the car. I'm upstairs. My wife gets out the car. What is wrong with you? He didn't bust the window. He tried. He realizes I'm not in the car. She takes off running by him, runs up the steps, runs in the house, and tells me he's trying to bust the windows out the car. My cousin Angie tells me, Jay, stop, stop, stop. And all that's just like, feels like it's a million miles away as she's saying it. Instantly, I thought my people were in trouble, my family, my wife, my son, my nephew. So my attention goes back to this. I jet out the door, and as I'm jetting out the door, like running out the door towards the car, he's running up the steps towards me, and we just collide like two bulls. Boom! I go low, he goes low. He picks, scoops, slams me. Boom! We go into the ground. We go to rumbling. And we're just trading blows. He's my brother. I'm his older brother, but he ain't no small dude. He's taller than I am. I weighed more than him, but he's got me by maybe an inch or two. And I'm telling him as we're fighting, I'm like, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you. He had never been to prison at this point. He had done little stints in jail, but nothing too serious. Here I am. I haven't even been home a full 6 months yet. I've still got that rage from prison inside of me. I've still got the ability to hurt someone. Still got the fight in me. That's not going anywhere. And we're on the ground fighting, and all I can think is, I don't want to hurt my brother, but he's trying to hurt me. So what do? I flip him, wrap around behind him, put him in a chokehold, and I tell him, I do this shit. You really want to fight? You knew what I would do to you. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Why did you make me do this? And I held him until he went limp. And I pushed him off. And I got up, went downstairs, got the keys, took the keys to his wife, told her, y'all hit me up tomorrow. I'm sorry I destroyed the room. And we got in the car and left. I struggle with that to this day. I had a guy that worked for me that I'd known for quite a while, not since a kid, but since I got out. I met him working out on a farm at this nonprofit place, helping this lady on the weekends. He was out there doing community service. He was actually one of my first employees. I fire him. Many years down the road, he comes back to work for me. And I start to feel like this guy's getting high. Mind you, my brother had just been sentenced and sent off to prison behind the same thing. I can see it. You can't trick me when it comes to doing dope. You can't trick me when it comes to getting high. If you're high, I can tell. I've never been wrong about it. People, oh, you wrong, you wrong. I'm not wrong. I can always tell it. I spend a lot of time around junkies. I know when somebody's high. This guy's getting high again. And he knows my policy. He knows how strongly I feel about it. I was beating myself up real bad at the time, emotionally and mentally, because I felt like I should have done more for my brother. I did everything I could, and at the end of the day, he still ended up going to prison, and I took that personal. I felt like I failed him. Like if I would have tried harder, if I could have done something more, he wouldn't have ended up where he was. So now I've got this guy that works for me that's getting high, and when I ask him about it, he looks me in my eyes and lies to me. Tells me, nah, I ain't getting high. Where's your piss cup? I'll piss in it. And I said, bro, you are getting high. Don't play me, man. Don't try to play with me. I don't know who you think I am. Maybe you think I'm one of these little white boys from the suburbs or something. You know who I am. You got me fucked all the way up. Don't lie to my face, man. I'm not getting high. And then he laughs. As I'm standing there being serious, and all these emotions are going through me, thinking about my brother, thinking about my best friend that's locked up behind dope. This guy has the audacity in the middle of while we're talking to laugh. At that point there, I just, in an instant, boom, shoved him as hard as I could. Now we're standing beside this white van. He flies backwards, hits the van, puts a big ass dent in the side of the van, bounces off the van. And the only thing, two things saved him is that when he hit the van, instead of him sliding in the direction I thought he was going to slide in, when he hit it, it kind of like springboarded him off the van. As soon as he come off the van, I just started punching. Throwing punches at him. Luckily, the van slung him in the other direction, so both the punches I threw missed. Once I realized he was going in that direction, I cocked back and went to go throw again. And one of the guys that worked for me at the time that used to be a friend of mine grabbed the guy by his shirt and slung him out the way, so that as I come forward slinging punches, I'm steadily swinging. Boom, boom. He grabs him and slings him. And the guy I'm aiming for that just laughed in my face completely disappeared. He's gone. I can't get to him. Guys get in between us. Jay, chill, 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 chill. I was so frustrated by that situation, I walked off with tears in my eyes. A, because I was ashamed of myself that I had allowed myself to lose my temper. I was ashamed because I honestly thought I had control of it. And that part of me died when I left the prison. And just like that, I realized that I was who I was. That there were certain things I couldn't control. I fired the guy. I run into him not long after that. He's on the run from the police, all drug-related charges. We run into each other at a gas station. He sees me. How you been? I was in the big baby, in the big black truck. I said, I've been good, man. How you? He was like, man, I got warrants. I'm on the run. He said, I want you to know something. And I said, yeah, what's up? And he was like, I was getting high. You were right. And I shouldn't have laughed in your face. That goes back to the whole me not knowing how to communicate thing. It's been quite a while now since I've, gotten into any type of things like that. I don't ever go out looking for trouble. I will never go out looking for trouble. I'm not a troublemaker. I go to work and I go home. There's nowhere in this world I'd rather be than with my family. Somebody once told me, man, you came home and you turned your back on the neighborhood. I turned my back on the neighborhood. Ask yourself, what is my front facing? If I'm not focused on y'all, what am I focused on? I'm focused on my family. So if me putting my attention in the direction of my family is me turning my back on y'all, then that's exactly what I did. If you guys are still out here doing things that are going to put y'all in prison, going to have y'all sent off, get y'all killed, dying of overdoses, what would make you think I would want to be a part of that? Especially knowing the things y'all are out here doing in the streets. Y'all know my tolerance it's nowhere short as an ant dick. I struggle with a lot of things day to day that I brought home. I do believe, and I honestly can say this, I do believe I brought home a much better version, probably the best version thus far of who I could be. But when it comes to the long-lasting effects of things I've experienced, things I've been through, things that were ingrained in me, these are things I work on daily. Now, I've come to understand that I can't argue. Now I know this. I know this about me. I know I can't argue. With trolls, I won't argue with you. If anybody's got something to say about me, I won't argue with you. I won't go back and forth. Because what they don't understand is they have the ability to argue. Me, once I get caught up in that moment, it's no longer arguing. There's nothing to talk about. We're going to take it to the next level. I'm proud of who I am, who I've become. I'm happy to be able to help people. But I know that in being who I was for so long, I still have a long ways to go. And for each and every person that took the time to watch this entire video, which is a little different than my usual videos, I hope y'all learned something today. I hope you take the time to understand who you are. Notice your weaknesses, your faults, the things that make you human. Notice the things that can potentially lead you in trouble. And focus in on them before it does lead you to trouble. I'm going to continue dropping these gems on y'all. I'm going to continue showing y'all love. We're going to continue to relive it. Because even though it may come with nightmares, even though it may affect me on a day-to-day basis, I know that what I'm doing is making a change. It's doing something better for the world. And I know that in due time, the good I'm doing will replace the bad. It will replace the nightmares. I know in due time, when somebody I get to argue with, I'll just be able to laugh at them and walk off. But just remember, I'm only human. I'm just a human. I'm just a man. I bleed red. I wake up, go to work, and go to sleep just like everybody else, man. So, yeah, that's what it is. Anyways, man, these jails, detention centers, these facilities, these prisons, they're all just crazier worlds inside of this already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? This is Jay Williams. Let's live life. To all my real ones, and there are some real ones watching, because you're still watching me. Y'all know how we do. Salute.